Afternoon to you, Steve here. Not usually here on a Saturday afternoon, usually between 12 and 3, Monday through to Friday with Lifestyle. But I'm here today because, well, I wanted to do this because I've really been looking forward to this ever since the announcement. This guy's actually going to be doing the opening party for Zana. I thought, right, well, we've got to try and get him into the studio. And I know how these things work with these particular guys who fly around the world. They're very, very high in demand, come in on aeroplanes for 24 hours and go out. Not the case here. Good afternoon, Paul Harris. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
When did you fly in then?
I got in I flew from London to Singapore late yesterday afternoon, and then from here to Singapore to here last night. Had a pad thai and went to bed, so I'm bright and breezy this morning.
Well, that's good, because all the hours, obviously, from London to Singapore, it is a 4-hour time.
I mean, it's 7 hours.
It's
7 hours there, 7 hours here. It's actually not too bad. I got some sleep on the flight, so
yeah.
I'm not going forwards all right. Going back's the trouble.
That's right. And you're a busy man, yeah. And in demand.
That's like to be.
So, okay, well, during this hour, and I appreciate the fact that you are very busy, we're going to have a little chat about you, about the party tonight.
Sure.
Obviously, your own experiences and travelling around the world. And a couple of things I want to ask you about music in general itself, with the type of music that's being played these days, commercially and also non-commercial. So I appreciate you coming in. We're going to play some classic tunes as well from Dirty Vegas on the way, and we're going to play some other tunes and mix them in to get you in the mood for the
Don't play all mine.
for the opening party tonight at Zana. Afternoon and welcome then, Phuket's Live 89.5. Steve with you through until 2 o'clock. And let's play some classic David Morales and Needing You. You like this, yeah?
Yeah, I like this one. Yeah.
From the late 90s and Needing You. Afternoon to you and welcome to Phuket's Live 89.5. Steve here through until 2 o'clock, just for an hour today. We've changed around things just a little bit to invite our guest into the studio to have a little chat. It's really good of you to come down and have a little chat with us live on the air here on Phuket's Live 89.5. Paul Harris of Dirty Vegas. In the background now, there's the looping of a fantastic Dirty Vegas soon. He can't hear that because he hasn't got headphones on, but he will have tonight because I know he's going to be very, very busy. So can I just ask you a couple of things then about Dirty Vegas to start with?
Of course.
Where did the name come from?
We'd originally called Dirty Harry because there's two of us called Harris. So we called Dirty Harry. Put our first record out, and we had a court injunction from Warner Brothers saying you can't have it because of Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood.
Make my day.
And yeah, and I'm a bad gambler, and that's literally Vegas become because of my gambling habit.
Oh,
and that's
right.
literally it. Dirty Vegas, nothing other than that. Nothing to do with being dirty in Vegas, even though I've been there a few times. But that's the reason for the name, and it's
stuck all the way through.
It's stuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad it has. I mean, obviously, the period of time that you guys have been doing your stuff together, it's going back quite a few years now, and
10 or so, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know each other really, really well.
Yeah.
So working together is good, and then going off and doing separate things is good as well.
Of course, it is. Yeah, it's like being married. You see each other every day. You know, when we was on tour in the States for a couple of years, we were together every single day of the week. So it's like being married to a couple of people, and you have your ups and downs. But it's it's good. But now, like Ben lives in LA, Steve lives in Boston, and I live in London, so it's a little bit tricky to get together nowadays. But we still do. Obviously, the internet is now the saviour of grace because you can Skype each other and all speak to each other at the same time. And I spend a lot of time in the studio in London on my own, doing stuff with other people, which is nice. It's nice to. The variety is great for music, especially because you can get bored doing the same thing at the same time. So you've still got the buzz for it as well. I can see that in your face.
No, and you smile about it.
I love it. I wake up in the morning and I go to the studio and make records. So I hopefully get paid for it sometimes. Sometimes if people don't download my music for free all the time.
Oh, okay.
Let's not talk about that one.
Yeah, that's for another day. There's a couple of things already to talk about for another day. So it's obviously not your first time here in Phuket.
No, I've been here a few times. It seems to be a bit of a stopping off gap in between gigs if you're in Singapore, like Bangkok, or you always come through here. I've played here before. Some other clubs which I won't mention because obviously tonight's all about the beach party. But literally, if you go to Australia or wherever, if you go to the east, you're always coming through here, even if it's a couple of days holiday, because obviously it's a lovely place to come and nice beaches. It's nice to have a bit of sunshine in between a couple of days off.
You could have some rocky weather tonight. That would be quite interesting.
No, it's going to be sunshine.
Just a couple of other things I want to ask you now before we play another Daddy Vegas track. Influential guys as you were growing up and music. I mean, what kind of stuff were you into? I mean, were you always into dance music? Or
when I was very young, I was into pop, like extreme pop, Stock Aitken and Waterman. Just that's what I grew up with. So I was always into that. But then obviously that was very dance based. I guess
Roadblock and stuff like that was quite good.
Yeah, and then I used to listen to some guy called Chris Forbes on Capital Radio, very late 80s. And from that, Pirate Radio, and then I got into obviously Pete Tong, who used to be on radio. I guess Pete Tong was a key influence for me getting into dance music. And from there, people like Danny Rampling, and then American DJs like Danny Tenaglia and Masters at Work. And now up to today, I'm into people Nick Fanciulli and like more very sort of underground people. And obviously, you've got the people who become massive superstars, but that's sort of where my head's at now, on a dance stage.
Is it more difficult each time you do something and put something new out? Is it more difficult to come up with new ideas and fresh sort of themes? I think, or is there still like a fashion vibe? Is there a sound?
I guess, yeah. Because obviously now, as you see in the charts, dance music is pop music. There's no denying it. People like David Guetta, what he's done, in a way people don't like, but he's smashed it out of the park, and it's become the staple for everything. Everyone from Usher to Chris Brown, they want to make dance records. But then you've got the extreme underground, which people don't like what's going on. But it's great to have the both. You need one to have the other.
I mean, dance has always been like that as well. Hasn't it? It's got to be underground still.
I think maybe when I was started off 20 years ago, when I was a kid and got into the whole thing, it was all underground. And it maybe took 10 years in England to become, 7 years. Dance music was in the charts probably in about 91, Black Box, stuff like that. Yeah. But it still was not overly seen as dance music. But that's probably the key sort of point when Pump Up the Volume come out, Black Box, when it started to become successful. That was when dance sort of kicked off in the UK. But now obviously in America, it's taken I've Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas to make people realise what dance. But it's like a wedding anthem. It's like some 60-year-old nan would go up and ask for a David Guetta record. That's how it's got, though. It's
come away from Come On Eiley, exactly. My Dexter's Midnight Runners, Black Eyed Peas.
But that's still a great tune.
Right, well, we'll talk a little bit more, because he brought up the fact that he's a big fan of like Stock Aitken and Waterman when he was growing up with the Kylie Minogue in there, and we'll talk about Kylie Minogue very shortly and other things here. Hope you're enjoying it. It is a very special programme today here on Puget's Live 89.5 with Paul Harris. On a very, very special show, because we got Paul Harris live in the studio here. Paul Harris, of course, who, as you know, is from big band from many years ago. Well, actually, an outfit really who sort of changed the dance scene in a lot of ways, because the music they were playing at the time. I remember a few people actually jumping on the bandwagon and sounding an awful lot like you, and you say one of your friends is the guy from Deepest Blue as well.
Very good friend of mine. Yeah, I work with him every day. So
because the sound from what you say 10 years ago, that actual sound was a very freshing and upbeating sound, and it bounced off the end of what was a good era from late 90s into 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's all a good time around then. I think my favourite era was the very early 90s, but the 2000s were good for me. So
yeah, it worked
good to
very
me,
well. For you. So, I mean, when we've seen the flyer for you appearing at Xana tonight, it says Grammy Award-winning Paul Harris. Not many people can have that with their names, like having an OBE or something like that.
Probably, I've got a spelling mistake.
Tell us a little bit more about the Grammy, though.
It goes about 10 years ago. We was up for Best Dance Record, and I think it's the first time it ever happened as well, the award. So obviously 10 years on now, it's a massive award to win.
Yeah.
In the category was, I think, us, Kylie, No Doubt. Obviously it was just a bit random, so obviously dance music then was not seen as whatever. It's a bit left field. And we thought No Doubt would win for Hella Good, without a doubt, because it was a massive record that year. We'd all sitting in the bar, as it's been known by lots of people, because we never thought it'd win. Obviously on the screen it come up, the winner was Dirty Vegas, and we're just sitting there going, oh shit. And we run from one side of, I think it was Madison Square Garden, to the other, and a little bit in shock for winning it.
So you didn't know? I mean, you had no idea?
I had no idea at all. No, we was up for like 3 or 4 awards that day. Best video, best artwork, best song. We lost the first 3.
Right.
So we thought, okay, it's got
That's
no
it,
chance. We're about to go home, and it happened. I think there's something like it panned to our seats in the crowd, and we weren't there, and it's like seat fillers, and bit embarrassing. But I have it at home, and it's sitting like on my shelf. So it's amazing thing. Yeah, it's an incredible thing to have, and it literally is. It's the Oscar of
it is.
dance records. Yeah.
And just to say to the uninitiated here, what was it for? What song was it for?
It's a song called Days Go By,
and
which I don't think I'll be playing tonight if people ask me. So go back to that question, please, play that record. Yeah, it's long time ago.
It's interesting because we were talking off air about people ask you things as DJs, and obviously that sits with you there. But the actual, Days Go By. It's obviously there's always something that sticks with people. I mean, and in some ways it can be good, some ways it can be bad as well. But you just mentioned Kylie in there for the second time. It's interesting. Kylie's coming around in circles of your life because you're involved with something that she's doing now as well.
I was lucky enough. I did some records for a last album. Did one actually with Calvin Harris, and then I just did a new single, Time Bomb, which just literally come out a couple of months ago, which is doing okay. But I know her sister really well, Danny. So that's my little Australian connection. So any Australians out tonight, I don't have a number, so don't ask me, please.
Or either the numbers,
no, I cannot give out any phone numbers.
Well, that's really good, and we'll get on to talking about you and what you're actually up to now, and what kind of direction you're going to go to in the future as well, and a couple of other questions. If you want to have a chat with Paul, you can do 076612895. We're through till 2 o'clock live here on Phuket Live 89.5. Afternoon to you, Phuket Live 89.5. Steve with you through until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then Sam's here with the Saturday Sports, starting off with some box of neutrals between 2 and 3. It's a great pleasure to have this guy in the studio, and we're having a little conversation with Paul Harris, who of course is playing at the Xana opening party tonight. Let me just tell you about that. You can get down there, and I've just got a feeling it's going to be heaving very, very early on. It is free entry to get in. The guys are going to be spinning all the way through, and it'll be a great night itself, and I'm sure you'll be down there, and I'll see you a little bit later down there myself. And Paul, what time are you on? Have you any idea? Have they told you?
I think I'm from 9 till I fall over. So Mark's been telling me. So let's see how it goes.
That should be a very interesting night.
I'm sure I may start earlier, so I would expect everyone to get early.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It should be very busy tonight.
I think it is very, very busy. Actually, I just wanted to talk to you about DJing itself. I mean, I'm really old school. I can remember 7-inch vinyl and carried them to mobile DJing days, etc., and getting the 100 in an R. White's lemonade crate, just about. So vinyl, I used to love vinyl. Obviously, then it moved on to CD, and now everything's on laptops. How does that work for you? I mean, you said over the last 20 years growing up with music itself and getting into this kind of game, it started probably with vinyl 20 years ago.
No, of course, started with vinyl, but now I don't get a bad back anymore carrying record boxes through airports. I don't lose any records, and I don't get a bad back anymore, so that's the benefits. I used to love vinyl, it's great. All that time ago, it was expensive though. A 12-inch could cost £10, maybe £20, which is really expensive. And now, obviously, kids today moan paying 69p for a track. Well, I won't go into that one. There used to be a love affair with vinyl. You used to like the picture, how it looked, how it smelt. Do you know, it's ridiculous things like that. I think the main thing for me nowadays from that to this is I could look at my record box and know where the records are by the way a corner of a sleeve was bent or something. But now everything's just a file name and an artist. And there's so much music out there at the moment, it's hard to differentiate what's something from another because lots of it's instrumental and not got vocals. So it's hard to know what songs are what songs.
Right.
And then obviously with vinyl, you'd know by the sleeve.
Yes.
So that's the major difference. But it's nicer now to have like laptops and stuff like that because you've got so much more choice. You have your iTunes library rather than just to select 50 records.
Yeah.
So it's better in some ways and not in the other. It's whatever you fancy doing it.
But in some ways as well, though, I mean, you can change the mood by looking at vinyl and, as you say, grabbing it and changing direction a little bit sometimes as well. I mean, it's a little bit harder on the file, isn't it? I mean, unless you've got great eyesight. Yeah.
My eyes are all right at the moment.
You understand what I mean? I mean,
of course, but I think it's the more to do with if you had a box of records, you got 50 songs. If you got a laptop, you got 10,000.
Right.
So at least you got more options what to choose and what to play. That's the main advantage. But then in a way, it's harder to break records. because you've got so much choice. Years ago, you'd have 50 records, and every DJ would have the same 50 records. So records would become hits easier.
Of course, yeah.
Now everyone's got 5,000 records, so you won't hear the same records played in the same clubs.
Yes.
So the records are harder to break through and to become more popular because there's so much choice.
And especially in the field that you're in, from an underground point of view, that can only be a good thing as well, because of the better variety.
Of course, you go to clubs now and you probably won't hear the same records in different clubs. The more commercial clubs, of course, you'll hear all the hits. The hits are the hits, and but it's good. I mean, music's music, and
What's your favourite kind of stuff now, then?
There's lots of different things. I don't even know half the names, to be quite honest. As we go back to the file sharing.
I know.
It's.
Is it sort of for you? Is it sort of melody? Is it sort of the beat? Is it
a bit of everything? Actually, there's loads of. See, the deep house at the moment is massive.
Yes,
it is the. It's good because coming back from where I come from 20 years ago, it seems to be a full circle. It seems to be vocal led again. It's nice. It's happy. Obviously, dance music had a bit of a dark patch a few years ago where it was quite angry. It wasn't happy. Now it seems to be more sexy, more bumpy, if that be the word. I think dance is in a good place, really is, and it's. Lots of stuff on Defected is good at the moment. I mean, it's just really good house music. It's good. That's the way I like it. So
okay, cool. And we're going to talk a little bit more about experiences that he's had, good and bad, and also we'll be talking about the kind of music you'll be able to hear tonight. Quick, it's live 89.5. Steve with you through until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then Sam's here from 2 through till 5 with your Saturday sport, including boxer neutrals between 2 and 3. That's in about 20 minutes time. Afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. We got Paul Harris live in the studio here tonight. He is playing at Zana. Really looking forward to that. He said he's been here a few times to this beautiful part of the world, and he enjoys coming here. I just want to talk about the guys then, all of you together. Okay, Electric Love came out, and I actually do think it's the best track on the album, Little White Doves, and I think it's a great track. It's got a different kind of feel to it. I mean, how did you come to an agreement on that? Because obviously it goes away from a little bit from what you normally do, don't you?
I don't know, you just get in the studio and you make what you feel at the same time. It doesn't really matter if it's good or bad. And you get a collection of songs together, then you look at the 20, 30, 40, 50 you've made and choose what ones you like. I guess that one seems to be going back to what we made originally. It's a dance, indie dance record, I guess. Like 10 years ago when we was doing it electronic with rock, and no one was doing it. But now obviously you got bands like the Killers, Snow Patrol, and all these massive bands that come along which did it a lot better than us, a lot more successful. But,
well, they just jumped into a niche in the market at the time, didn't they?
I guess Little White Doves sound, it could be like a Killers record.
Yeah.
It could be any of the above. It's that sort of euphoric.
And does it get a good airplay? I mean, obviously,
America picks up on it, and I think it's on about 10 computer games at the moment. So God bless Microsoft. Thank you very much for that. It's done really well, and the album as a whole has been really well received. So it's.
Well, we talked about earlier on, you and the guys, and what you do. So how does it work then? It's sort of pretty fluid, and if things hit off in a big way, especially with the single break in the States, would you all get back together and do some stuff?
I think at the moment, I'm not sure if we'll do another album because the way the market is, I don't think you need to do albums anymore. I think we'll just do single by single and see how they go, and after we've done 4 or 5 singles, you put them out as an EP or maybe a few others as an album. But the new album, Electric Love, we just had loads of remixes done, so we'll have a remix album coming out I think in the next few months, so that'll be the next thing that comes out, and maybe an extra track or two. Bonus tracks as they're called, I think.
Oh, and what about you yourself? Are you sort of going into the writing side of things?
Yeah,
do you enjoy that?
I've been doing it for years. As we mentioned before, I think you said your favourite's Deepest Blue. Me and Matt wrote the Kylie thing together, and we've just been with The Wanted this week. I write with loads of different bands next. It's what I like to do. I get up in the morning, I make music, or I come to DJ at beach clubs like Zana. It's not a bad life. Yeah. I can't complain.
All right, just a couple of other things. Biggest mistake as a DJ. Let's start with.
I think we had this one before. Giving me a bottle of Jägermeister is normally a massive mistake. So, Mark, if you're listening, only after about 2 hours of playing, give me the bottle of Jaeger. I've done everything from turning the decks off to putting off the wrong records, falling off stages.
It's a night. It is a night. It's a nightmare for everyone. And actually, you do have nightmares thinking about things like that as well. Sometimes
There's everything from nothing working to turning up, and there's been turning up with CDs and it's only got record decks, and you name it, it's happened over 20 years. There's not much which can't have happened. Yeah. And then the magic one where you on planes and your records go missing, or the box opens as it comes down the conveyor belt, smashes all over the place. I've had every possible nightmare known to man.
It's not going to happen that tonight, I can guarantee you.
Tonight's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. I'm going to play Little White Doves now, and then I just want to say a big thank you to you for coming in to speak to us today. I know tonight's going to be a great night. A new kick-off, 9 o'clock. The other guys are going to be down there as well. So what we're saying is get to Zana very, very early tonight, because I think it's just going to be heaving. It's going to be.
I'll say get there from about 6ish, and then all right. I'll be sober.
Paul, thank you very much indeed for coming and speaking to us today on Phuket's Live 89.5. I'm looking forward to seeing you and you hearing you set a little bit later on as well.
See you tonight.
Phuket's Live 89.5.
Your island, your station.
Powered by the Phuket News.